Hey everybody. Okay, so I wanted to redo the CSS series because I don't feel like I did a good enough job with it. I didn't feel like I explained enough in the beginning to give you the base that you're going to need for the rest of the series, and to do really nice stuff on your pages. Um, uh, so what CSS is? It's an acronym. It stands for Cascading Style Sheets, and what it allows you to do is make a minimal number of changes to affect a maximum number of elements on your page. Okay, so we've got a little hello world page here done. It's basic markup. We've got HTML, head, title, body, and then div inside the body uh, with an H2 statement. Okay, now there are three ways that you can write style sheets. One is to write inline styles, and you can do this. Oops. Style equals quote quote, and you can change this to red. All right, and your text changes. So it's affecting only what's available, only the tag that you're styling, which is the H2 tag. This isn't bad if it's real small and real simple that you need to make the changes for, and it's only one item. It gets more complicated when you want to do uh, much bigger changes to affect a lot more items. All right, so the second way of doing this, and if this is a single page, sometimes this is a little easier. It'll save an HTTP request to go and grab the CSS file, but you can actually call your style sheets here. All right, and all right, we'll say H2 color red and font family, say Trebuchet. All right. So now when we refresh, all right, what are we missing here? Oh, I took out the hello world. There we go. Okay, so you can do that, or what you can do as well, if you have multiple pages, and this is kind of the standard for most sites, is inside your root folder, you're going to create a CSS folder, and inside that CSS folder, you're going to create a new file, and you call it whatever you want, and you're going to put your styles in here. All right, and we're going to save that out as style.css. Okay, now that won't affect the page until you actually load the style sheet into this page. All right, and we do that with a link call. Link. All right, and rel equals style is relationship style sheet. Type is text/CSS, and then your link to the file itself, CSS. Okay, so we reload, and you can see the change to maroon instead of red. All right, so these are the three ways that you basically can affect your page. This is the most accepted way of doing it, and also pretty much the easiest way to do it when you're going to have a lot of changes. And you get a really complex site. There's going to be a lot of style sheets. You'll have more than one style sheet loading. You could have a different style sheet if you wanted to. You could break it down per page. You could have a style sheet for each page and only load in one request, or you could just have one style sheet, have one request, and just have one long style sheet that you can minify later to save loading time, but it'll contain all the styles for the entire site. Okay. Now, while you're inside the styles, you have three different, ways of addressing your styles. All right, and so we can call this what we call this is a paragraph. There we go. All right. This selector here, the period, means that this is a class. Now, a class can relate to more than one item. Okay, so you can have a div with a class of paragraph. All right. You can have an H2 with a class of paragraph, but you can't have two ID selectors. Now an ID selector is a pound sign, all right? And so what you would have to do in this instance, one would be an ID of paragraph, and the other you would have to change to a different class. You would have to create, if you wanted to, you could use the same name, only with a dot, all right, and have different styles in there as well. But that's the difference. An ID selector can only be used once. A class selector can be used multiple times. All right, and so what we'll do is we get rid of all that because that's kind of pointless right now. All right, and we'll get rid of this. All right, and we'll save. We'll save that. All right, so now that you have the basic idea of it, now we need to learn the selectors, what to call, and then how to target individual elements that are inside the page. Now in the style sheet you can address HTML elements without addressing a dot or period. That just means that you're addressing all of the items. All right, so say we wanted to do H1, we wanted to do color yellow. So we've got H2 already. H3 we want to do color blue, and so on. H4 you do a color purple. All right, and then we go back to index. Two, three, four. Save that, and there you see all your different colors. Okay, and obviously H numbers, the higher you get, the lower the smaller the size is by default. In addition to the H tags, we can also do paragraph tags. And we could do a color of, say, you do a hex color, say E3, 3E3. All right, and we can do padding 0 pixels, margin 0 pixels, and that is, we can do what's called clearing. All right, so now you have paragraph tags that are styled. So if you do a paragraph in it, let me go back, and you can see down there the paragraph tag is very small. One thing to do, generally a good idea, is you want the window of your site to fill up the entire page. By default, it won't. It is going to include some padding and a margin. So what you want to do is clear the margins and clear the padding. So you want to do 0 pixels on the margin and 0 pixels on the padding. Okay, and that's pretty much the basics to get you started. We're going to talk about a few more advanced techniques later on in the subsequent videos, and we'll take a look at basically how to write your markup so that it's clean, it's effective, and it's good to read from somebody who didn't code it, which is always important, because sometimes you may need to go back and look at something you did years ago and not understand what you were thinking at that time. And the documentation and the commenting is really important to try and figure out what you were thinking at that time. All right. So thanks for watching. Hope that was helpful. Don't forget to subscribe and like and write a comment if you feel so inclined. Thanks.